Hello and welcome to NDTV Profit. And today I'm joined by Chandrajit Banerjee, the Director General of CII, and Nivruti Rai, CEO of Invest India, to talk about the impact of budget on investment as well as India's growth. To begin with, I will start with Mr. Banerjee. My first question to you is on the private investments. It has really not taken off, and the FM has also highlighted the issue. What measures do you think are really required to be taken to get the private sector to invest in capex?
I think, first of all, I must say that the government over the last few years have done phenomenal heavy lifting as far as getting the economy, going through the huge amount of capex that it is focused upon. And today, I think if I look at the companies and our membership and do a survey around, which I did about just a few weeks back. If you look at a sample of 300 odd firms spread across all the countries, large and medium, well, 75% of them believe that the current economic environment would lead to greater private investment. And in just a few days, we had the national board meeting of ours, and what we saw that there has been capacity utilization, which is across more than 80% of sectors such as steel, cement, and many others. And other sectors are also showing rise in capacity utilization, which is above 80%. But also, one sees that there are actual growth in investments taking place in some of these sectors. In fact, added private sector increase in investment. Now, having said that, what I would also like to say that the budget itself, there has been this talk about whether there has been increase or decrease in the capex, and I find that the government has still done quite prudently in terms of the capex and the allocation of state level capex support. All of this will help crowd in private investments. So I don't see a reason as to why private sector should be a laggard. There is immense scope today with a lot more other policy changes which have taken place in terms of how it is easier to invest in at this point in time, and therefore the opportunities, the creation of demand, we see a huge boost towards consumption demand. So I don't think that the private sector would be staying back or holding back in terms of investment further as we go in the months and years to come.
Right. Mr. Banerjee, also, on the impact of tax relief, I would specifically want to know. So a lot of companies have said that initially, whatever amount people, they save from the relief that they have got in terms of the income tax may actually go towards savings and paring debt level, because their personal debt level seem to be very high. And later on, only a portion of it is likely to translate into actual consumption. So do you think that is the case? And also, how early do you expect consumption to really take off?
So, there are two sides to it. Yes, of course, there are issues which might be there in certain strata of income levels of what you exactly said. But yes, there will always be a lag when we see a stronger pick up on consumption demand. I see us pick up on consumption demand very soon, or rather even immediately. Yes, there should be some amount which can which the households wanted to put in savings, which they were not being able to do so. It's an important point to actually happen. But more importantly, I would say that the second part is that the tremendous focus that one has seen on the budget on the supply side, which really addresses the food inflation, which is a phenomenal thing to have happened, which would lead to actually what you said, compressing the wait period. And just a couple of days back, we have seen great monetary intervention, which has both effect on private sector investment, which you talked about in the earlier question, as well as even on this. These matters really help boosting the household in the country.
All right. Now, coming to you, Ms. Rai, Make in India for the World has been a key theme. So, given the investment climate, what do you think are the challenges that India needs to solve to rise to this theme?
Thank you very much for asking me this question. I can tell you what India needs is, I call it acceleration. You know, the world agrees that India is growing and no other country is growing at the rate of India. So there is velocity. What I like to say is what our government and the budget has displayed is we have a plan for acceleration. And, my friend CB and I were talking, and I showed him an analysis, which is the budget allocation over the last 25 years. So just to let you know, and the reminder that from 2005 to 2025, our GDP has increased by 10x. Similarly, our budget has increased by 10x. And then every, 5 years, there has been budget allocation. What I can tell you, the few sectors who have received significant allocation, in the sense their allocation year over year has grown exponentially, not the absolute, but the rate of change, and those are renewable energy, those are R&D and education, those are women and child development. These have grown significantly, like I said, exponentially. Renewable energy, I can tell you, has grown 9x of what our budget has grown by. Our budget is grown, but 9x this renewable energy has grown. So just tells you how much push the government has on renewable energy. And similarly, we have health, agriculture, and infrastructure, which is a lot of focus. Now, I truly believe all of these are the drivers for acceleration that our country needs. We are growing, but we need to grow more. Just to let you know, all of the world is driving digitalization. Data centers are key, data centers for AI, data centers for transmission, 5G, 6G, and so on. We need capital inflow. But for the capital inflow, we need to be prepared for the power. So just to let you know, for 5 megawatt of data centers, we need 1 acre of land and $30 million of investment. And just to let you know that Europe will take 60 million to do the same thing. And United States may take 45 to 50. So we are very economical in terms of data centers, but power is what we need and renewable is what we need. And capital flow is what we need. So when I talk to my investors and say, here is my plan for power and renewable, I'm able to draw investment into energy and I'm able to draw investment into data centers. And I can tell you over the last year and a half that I've been part of Invest India, the largest amount of investment that I have seen is coming into the energy sector, followed by ESDM, followed by pharma. So we are seeing investment. And, like you said, is there a slowdown? I would like to say there is macroeconomic dependency on FDI. But I'll tell you, you never look at FDI 1 year alone or 2 years, because FDI, when a company decides to invest, it takes 3 years to 5 years to make the complete investment. So if a company is committing for $1 billion, they invest 250 million, 250 million, 250 million, 250. So I like to see on a secular trend way, and I'm loving the budget because whether it is R&D funds, whether it is fund of fund for startup, I'm very excited about the 75 to 100% in insurance. I also love the simplified regulations and the connectivity to 120 cities. And like we explained beautifully, The
Right.
people,
So I get a sense that energy is clearly one of the sectors that is expected to drive maybe the next $1 trillion FDI inflows over the next decade. Do you believe that?
for driving any industry, whether it is agriculture, whether it is space, you need power. So power, whether it was industrial revolution one, two, three, or now with AI and digitalization, power is the key ingredient. So,
Mm,
I'm really happy that our government is pushing so much on power, and
mm,
whether it is nuclear reactor, whether it is solar or wind, we are investing and we are getting capital inflow. So my 2 cents is I'm very excited about this budget and the trend of the budget I'm seeing. And lastly, I just wanted to finish the consumption money is going to drive more production, which is going to leverage capital assets, which is going to increase capital inflow, which is going to increase jobs, and this virtuous cycle will continue. So I'm really excited about this budget. And like I said, I have studied budget as a trend. And the
mm.
beautiful trend I'm seeing, watch out, the velocity turn into acceleration.
But if we talk about PLI specifically, it has seen a mixed response across sectors. What are your thoughts on the PLI scheme and how is it doing? Any new sector, in fact, do you think can be potentially added under the scheme?
So PLI, again, you must have heard the story of Chinese bamboo. When we look at a semiconductor fab, to get the
Mm,
semiconductor fab functioning, it takes five
mm,
to 6 years. And when I look at the PLI in the ESDM sector, I can tell you I have done a value chain for ESDM and all components and all the different values and where India is a red, yellow, orange, and green. I can clearly see areas where India has provided PLIs are yellow or green. There are areas where we need to focus, like bringing in the fab, like bringing in the packaging, like bringing in, SOC design. Those are areas that we are investing in, and you will see growth once the 2, 3, 4, 5 years of maturity happens. The one change that I think our Department of METI is already working on is it is important to look at semiconductor and the equipment and the fab, but
yeah.
as important is the components, building blocks, and raw materials. And I know that our minister is already working, our secretaries are already working on it. So we are contributing, and I don't think PLI is what we should continue growing. PLI to me is a jump starter. What we have to do is bring the supply chain, work
Right.
on ease of business, which we are.
Right, absolutely. Now, going back to Mr. Banerjee, I would like to understand from you on the budget measures like duty cut on imported items from the US. Do you think it is suffice to tackle the tariff threat that that companies are seeing?
You see, when you really look at the budget, what it has said with regards to duties and really aligning our alignment of our the duty structures with our economic policies, etc. While whatever happens, in terms of responses from the United States, customs duties on inputs on various sectors had to be reduced. It was very important for us to see the story of our, make in India grow. And when you have the world investing into India and world investing into India for the rest of the world, not just for India, it is important for us to develop those value chains, those supply chains, and for which these the sort of movement towards a three-tier duty of customs with
Mm,
0 to 2.5, so to say, for raw materials, and then another slab for the intermediaries and a higher slab for the finished products. Over a period
mm.
of time, I think that is what is going to emerge, and I think the budget sets us into the direction which is important for manufacturing and investments to grow in India.
All right, so those are the final words. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time. It was pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you so much.